Get ready to stock up now. The blood and circulation of our economy, our beloved truckers, are prepared to walk. An attempt to fight back against the pandemic virus has seen the Biden administration roll out a plan that mandates employees of major companies to obtain the procedure or succumb to weekly testing for the virus. A plan that is set to affect 100 million people employed in the private sector, and recent polls have found that a third of truck drivers would say, "Fire me," rather than have the procedure. Welcome to the Savvy Few, where we keep you up to date with what's going on in today's economy. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and bell notification so you can stay up to date on the world's economy. It's 9 months since the procedure was approved for emergency use. Now, it would seem that emergency is upon us. With over 80 million Americans having refused the procedure, Biden announced that this selection of the population overcrowded our hospitals, are overrunning the emergency rooms and intensive care units, leading them to take decisive action through a controversial and polarizing mandate. In July, following the emergence of a variant in the strain of the virus, President Biden announced increased measures to protect United States citizens against an evolving threat. Safety protocols were strengthened with increased use in face masks and enforced social distancing. Military staff were prioritized for the procedure to protect them against low immunized countries to which they might be deployed. Paid leave was offered to those wanting to acquire the procedure for themselves and their children, and President Biden urged local governments to offer their residents incentives encouraging them to partake in the procedure. New mandates released this week will affect over 100 million Americans, from those working in the healthcare industry to federal employees and contractors. Having previously possessed the ability to abstain the procedure, instead opting for regular testing, the former is set to be annulled, leaving many Americans the choice between receiving the procedure or losing their job. Thursday afternoon saw the White House release a document detailing the comprehensive plan to fight back against the virus. Its most compelling revelation was that many workers will now be required to have the procedure. OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is creating a rule that will require all companies with 100 or more employees to follow this mandate. Usual timeframes require around 6 months for a standard procedure to pass legislation, but under circumstances where employees are classed as being in grave danger, exposed to toxic substances that could be harmful to them, OSHA is authorized to issue an ETS, or an emergency temporary standard, that can take effect immediately. Many large companies, including Ford Motor, Google, Microsoft, and Delta Airlines, already have strict procedures in place for their employees. However, with companies such as UPS, these rules do not extend to frontline staff, including their delivery drivers. With the latest announcement that's set to change and the polls reveal, it could have a disastrous impact on distribution. Thus far, most trucking companies have abstained from making the procedure obligatory for their employees, with the latest mandate uninspiring the workforce. A poll done by Truckers News revealed that 1/3 of their employees would ask to be sacked if they were required to have the procedure. A further 16% said they would simply quit. With many companies already struggling to employ and retain their workers, this mandate could prove catastrophic for the industry. The Truckers poll reflected a view that only 6% of employees would get the procedure if the new legislation came into effect. In contrast, a survey conducted by the Associated Press and Nork Center for Public Affairs revealed that 50% of working Americans are in favor of employees completing the procedure, with 52% supporting the requirement of mask wearing in the workplace. With increased pressure to stop the spread, we are witnessing a divide emerging between those that support the procedure and those that do not. The new variant of the virus has led to a vast increase in the number of cases and hospitalizations. Additionally, the death toll has risen to an average of 1,500 per day, even with the introduction of the procedure. Recent data shows that 53% of Americans have fully completed the procedure, a figure that is greatly increased in the 65 and over population, with a rate of 82%. the virus has infected 39.9 million residents and has resulted in 650,000 deaths. The new mandates that Biden is intending to enforce mark a pivotal turning point for U.S. society. No previous government has had the power to enforce a procedure to be obligatory, an issue likely to cause debate within a free society. In an official statement released by the White House, President Biden declared, "This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you." Seemingly divergent from his earlier disclosure, "No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand it to be mandatory." In response to whether or not the procedure should be enforceable when questioned last December. Fast forward to September 2021, and Biden's statements possess a different sentiment, which is sure to cause a division between those who support the increased safety measures and those who see the latest move as a breach of their freedom. Divisions are already visible amongst leaders, and whilst Press Secretary Jen Psaki has stood in support of Biden's decision, other leaders have voiced strong opposition. Kristi Noem, South Dakota Republican governor, stated, "Legal team is standing by ready to file a lawsuit the minute Joe Biden files this unconstitutional rule." Additionally, Brian Kemp, Georgia governor, stated, "I will pursue every legal option available to the state of Georgia to stop this blatantly unlawful overreach by the Biden administration." Applying not only to our leaders, these suggested implementations are also polarizing legal experts. Robert Peck, president of the Center for Constitutional Litigation, said, "The federal government was within their legal rights to make the procedure compulsory, drawing on a 1905 Supreme Court decision in the Jacobson v. Massachusetts case, where a man fought for his rights to not undertake the procedure against smallpox. The government's decision was upheld during a time encased in an ongoing epidemic." In contrast, Trevor Burrus, researcher at the Cato Institute Center for Constitutional Studies, disagreed, stating that whilst if you have black mold in your office, OSHA might have jurisdiction over that, forcing a person to undertake the procedure is a vastly different circumstance, one which requires lines to be drawn over constitutional law. Whether you support Biden's increasing measures as essential in ensuring the safety of American society, or deem his actions tyrannical and a breach of your personal freedom, the only certainty is the uncertainty of the future of America. No matter the outcome, this directive is likely to see a disruption across a multitude of industries. Stock up now to safeguard against the potential of massive walkouts. Thank you for watching. Please like this video. It greatly helps the channel reach more savvy viewers like you who want to stay updated on today's economy. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button with the bell notification to get notified every time we post a new video. Until next time.